I'm a major nerd, so when I was approached about a commission of a Lord of the Rings inspired Valentine's Day present, I was ecstatic. One of my favorite things about doing these freelance art commissions is that you never know what you're going to be asked to do. So when you are going to be doing something that lines up so closely to your own favorite things, it's really a lot of fun. I also love knowing that I'm going to be part of something special for somebody, even if they never really know anything about me. So when I do a commission that I know is going to be a present for a wedding, an anniversary, a Valentine's Day gift, anything like that, it's going to bring a little bit of a joy to me that is just really hard to explain, because you know you're going to be part of something special in somebody's life, and that just means something. In this particular case, my client's boyfriend is a big Lord of the Rings fan, so she wanted me to draw the two of them as Aragorn and Arwen from the Lord of the Rings, and I just thought that was fantastic. That's just such a great idea. I do similar things for little like birthday and anniversary and Valentine's gifts for my husband, where I draw us in like Star Trek and Star Wars and our little nerdy things. So to draw the two of them in this style, I knew that would mean something to the two of them, and I really was excited to do this project. She found me through my Etsy store, which is linked in the description down below, and she said she really liked my style and she hoped that I would take this and be interested in this, and I don't think she realized how big of a nerd I am that I was just so excited by this project. For these custom character sketches, I usually work on a 9x12 piece of watercolor paper. It's a nice heavyweight that will be durable and last a long time, but it is nice and lightweight, and they can be easily matted or framed or whatever the client wishes. My first step is always to sketch out the general anatomy and composition. In this case, the client gave me some reference photos that showed me a general height difference between the two of them, so that was an easy starting point, and I was able to just compare that to some stills from the movie. In this case, I was combining several different stills from the movie, not just one particular image. In the beginning, it's pretty easy because I am only working in basic general shapes. I'm not having to draw between both the photo references from the film and the reference photos from the client. Once I have a general framework for the outfits and the anatomy laid in, I can go ahead and start referencing the photos from my client so that I can start getting a really good likeness for her and for her husband. Now it's time to start adding some color and shading, but I don't want to go too high contrast on her yet because the husband's outfit has a lot of darker colors and I am afraid to go too dark with her yet, but I have a feeling to balance him out I'm going to have to add a little more contrast later. But for now, I want to keep her shading very soft and delicate and ladylike, and then I can build from there later if I need to. I want to make sure that I keep a noticeable difference between the two layers of fabric in her sleeve. So I'm going to draw one and shade it in soft, gentle curves, and then have the other one be a little more angular and sharp. Then I'm going to carry over and use the same sorts of colors for both of those, but I'm going to have this underlayer be slightly bit warmer with a little bit more of a peachy tone to it, to again make a slight subtle difference between those two areas so it doesn't just blend together too much. Now I have her mostly finished. I am going to come back in later though and do some metallic highlights and accents. But for now, she's pretty much done, except that once I am done with her husband's part of the illustration, I think I'm going to come back in and tweak the contrast just a little. Now that I have her finished, I can move on to her husband, and I want to make sure that I use a different color for the base of his skin tone. Even though in the reference photos they have very similar complexions, I want to make sure that they stand out from each other, especially since they are actually overlapping where their hands are linked here. So I want to make sure that you can definitely tell the difference between the two of them. Then I can move on to filling in his armor. I started with all the sort of plate mail pieces first, making sure that I had those shaded in fairly decently, and added in a couple of different tones for all the gold accents. And then I moved on to the more chainmail pieces. I want to have a little bit of shading and a little bit of that texture coming through without being too detailed and overpowering next to her very simple dress. I also kept his boots very simple since that's a very minor part of the illustration, and then I moved on to his cape. And now that I have him finished with all those really dark colors, I do think I want to go back to her side and sort of up the contrast just a little bit. And now I can move on to inking, which is pretty straightforward, very simple on this piece. I'm not doing any particular like hatching or shading on this. I'm literally just outlining my existing pieces, making sure that I can differentiate between all the different sections and colors and pieces, and just clean everything up very nicely. I like that the inking also brings out a lot of the fun little details of this illustration, like the crowns, the jewelry, some of the nice little shapes that are happening. I really think that the inking really made this piece pop. And now that everything is inked and finished, I'm going to move on to this silver metallic paint. I'm not using a lot of this by any means, just a few little spots here and there to tweak and highlight some of the really cool jewelry and accent pieces of this illustration. And then I'm going to do the same thing and add just a tiny bit of metallic gold accents to the husband's crown and a little bit on his armor. And then of course, it wouldn't be a custom commissioned piece of artwork if it doesn't have the artist's signature. She was thrilled with the approval image that I sent her, so the finalized illustration has been shipped off. And I really want to wish the two of them and everybody else watching a very happy Valentine's Day. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and like down below. Be sure to ring the bell for notifications when I upload a new video every Monday and Thursday. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time.